Oh, she just, she didn't have to do much with it, did she?
Sound check.
G'day and welcome back to another vocal analysis here at Voice Essentials. My name is Dr. Dan, and today I'm treating you to another analysis of Gigi De Lana. And I just love listening to this lady's voice. I really do. This is a song that many of you, like a bucket load of you, have been requesting me to do a review on. This is the classic Fly Me to the Moon. Well, it's actually not the classic version. So this is, Fly Me to the Moon was originally made famous by old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra. But this piece is the cover version of the Squid Game version. Now, I'm taking that from the way Gigi De Lana and her crew have titled this on their channel, because I haven't watched Squid Game. And I know, shock horror. I don't handle, something to tell you about myself, I don't handle graphic violence on screen very well. I'm a lightweight when it comes to those sorts of things. So I haven't watched Squid Game. Many of you will, and I know many of you will be, very familiar with the show. And as a result, probably quite familiar with this version of Fly Me to the Moon. And there's definitely some hat tips. The melody of Fly Me to the Moon is there, but there's a whole heap of arrangement stuff that's going on. We get to hear some great instrumental work from the guys in GG Vibes. So let's dive in. Let's enjoy. What is there not to enjoy? And Gigi, she's got it all. Let's dive in and have a crack at jazz. Here we go. Swing jazz. So when I first looked at this video, and as you all know, I do watch the videos before I hit record, because to do an analysis, I want to have, these are not just first time reactions. When I first had a look at this video, I went, am I listening to Fly Me to the Moon here if I click the right video? Because right up to there, the arrangement, I take it, is very Squid Game. Again, having not watched it, but that's what I'm suspecting that it is. And you can let me know in the comments section below if I'm reading that correctly, because it has it has that sort of energy to it. And then what we do, and I'll take it back a smidge just so we get the lead into it, we get this real definite change, which is very cool on an arrangement level. And Gigi has to actually really apply the vocal swing into her melodic line. Have a listen as we enter in. Here we go.
Stars, let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
I want you to watch the whole band. The key thing about jazz, and I don't regard myself as a jazz specialist by a long shot, but I did my bachelor degree is in jazz vocal. And so I did a lot of jazz in my undergrad years. The thing about jazz is it is so driven by feel, and it's you've got to feel it. I want you to watch as we go along. I want you to watch everyone on set is feeling. They're trying to imbibe that sense of the music, because if you don't have that, you're going to really struggle to play it, and in Gigi's case, to sing it.
On Jupiter and Mars, in other words, oh,
Oh, she just, she didn't have to do much with it, did she? That's just lovely. Just lovely. Let's have a listen to that again.
Hold my hand. Oh, in other words, yeah. Baby, kiss me.
Yeah.
Fill my heart with song and let.
Oh, have a listen to the way she shaped the timing of that. It's not, jazz can't be exact. It's funny, jazz is exact in its own unique way, but the way you borrow and give time has to be so slight and so measured, and you hear that in just that little movement of note there. Have a listen.
Baby, kiss me.
Here.
Song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore.
Yeah. My students often ask me, why are we practicing offsets? It's to be able to do this sort of stuff. Da. Ah. And that's a soft, breathy offset, right? But the tone, can you hear the tone extends through that offset?
All I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words.
Now, I want to just make a point. In watching this, it reminds me of my own approach to jazz. What I mean by that, let me clarify. Really, if we were to put this in front of a jazz specialist, if I was to be perfectly honest, I think a jazz specialist would enjoy it. There's a lot to enjoy. But from a vocal standpoint, this is not classic jazz. What we hear here is a very definite pop vocal, pop rock vocal, R&B pop vocal singer applying her voice to jazz. And we hear it in a line like we just heard. I'm going to play it again for you. I want you to listen to hear how there's very much a pop idiom in the melodic choice that she makes. It's not what I would describe as a jazz vocal line choice. You might disagree. You can leave your comments below. But that's what I hear. And as we go further in, again, a lot of the melodic choices that I hear her making are so similar to how I found myself approaching jazz, because at uni I was studying jazz, but on the weekends I was singing pop rock. So it was always very hard for me to switch. And so it's in one sense, it's completely allowable, and it actually creates its own sort of fusion form, if you will, like a hybrid form, like a pop jazz vocal hybrid. And so there's nothing wrong with it, but it is an interesting thing to note that, even as good as Gigi is, for the specialists amongst us, it may not completely hat tip it. Again, remembering, of course, that this is the Squid Game version, and so she's applying herself to that cover as opposed to Frank Sinatra's cover. Let's go back and let's have a listen to that vocal line that she chooses.
All I long for, all I worship and adore.
Get the offset again.
In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Now, this guitar line is definitely not swing jazz. You know, it's got the distortion over it. Okay, so it's interesting to hear the two different musicians approach that too, right? So I think it's John is on the keys, correct me if I'm wrong, and we hear that the keys have more of a jazz leaning. Then we get into the guitar, and it's not only again because of the distorted vocal, the distorted guitar values that he's placed, the effects that he's placing over that, but it's also because of some of the guitar lines that he's choosing. And so it's not just Gigi, it's also the other musos and how we tend to bring our standing influences into how we play and how we sing. Let's take it back and into where Gigi comes back in. None of that was a negative comment, incidentally. None of that's suggesting that there was anything bad. Not at all. I'm loving all of this. This is great. It's just remembering stylistically where this fits.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. I wanna see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
It's funny to say it again. It reminds me of exactly how I would go about, varying the melodic line, the lyrical line. And I just can't help but think it's because she's so driven by what she mostly sings. It's so interesting. It's just really interesting.
Wanna see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand.
I'm loving that rim shot. That rim shot is sweet. Now, that probably seals the deal. That grit that we're hearing in the voice, that slight vocal fry in the commencement of the onsets. Again, there's some onsets for those of you who are students of voice. But have a listen to the way she applies that contemporary value. Again, I love it, but it's really giving this song a whole new sound. Sorry, I want to hear that drum roll again. I just really enjoyed it. I don't place myself in the same class of singer as Gigi De Lana. I really don't. But even the way she's scatting just reminds me so much of how I would go about it. And I know, having scattered next to true jazz singers, that there is a real difference between what I'm doing and what they're doing and what Gigi's doing. Yeah, Gigi and I really, it's funny. It's all comes down back to the melodic line and the way we. So often I heard it just then. So often I would use in my scat, shifts between registers and to allow the voice to have colorization, and changes and textural changes, and yet with like really hardened jazz singers, the musicianship of what they're doing with their voice, they're playing their voice like an instrument, and it's more about the note choice than it necessarily is about, how they apply the vocal effects. It's not to say they don't use vocal effects, but the balance is different. And so having listened to Gigi scat through this is just, it takes me back to my own uni days. It's really bizarre. Like listening to a recording of myself from 20 years ago. It's weird. Longer, 30 years ago. And interesting that technically she gets herself into a bit of a position of tightness there, which is not something we typically see in her. And I wonder whether it's driven by she's having to do a lot more thinking musically about what she's doing, and so there's a little bit of a loss as to what her body's doing. Just watch the way she gets herself into some tightness there. Back into where we kind of started.
Fly me to the
I love that last line. I think she's fantastic. But it's really interesting to observe her sitting, what I think is just on the very edge. Let's not say outside, because it still sounds magnificent. It's interesting to listen to her applying her voice and her musicality, her musicianship, to just on the edge of where her spectrum kind of can sit. And again, I've never heard the original Squid Game version of it. And so that might be an absolute replica of it. I have no idea. I'm just taking it at face value, and I enjoyed it at face value, which I'm sure you did as well. Given that so many of you have asked me to review this video, there we go, tick, we've done it. And we will continue to do more Gigi De Lana videos as we go along, if for no other reason than I get to enjoy and listen and analyze and learn, just hopefully like you are also learning. I look forward to seeing you in the next vocal analysis video. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.